Hi everyone, it's John from What Up and welcome back to another video, and we're talking Wheel of Time Season 3 Wrap Party. Yes, they're done filming, but no, they're not, if that makes any sense at all. We're going to get into it in today's video. We're also going to talk about a brand new casting that was leaked by redanian Intelligence that gives us some pretty big clues as to what may happen for Season 3, and I think they're going to fast-track a couple storylines. Now, speaking of storylines, I do have another Wheel of Time leaks video coming out probably the end of this week talking about the storylines in Season 3. There's some information on a couple of them for you folks, and I want to kind of break it down and talk about what was leaked and what we know. So this would be a brand new kind of What Up exclusive. We're going to talk about that near the end of the week, so if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so because you're not going to want to miss that video. Speaking of that, if you're new to the channel, we talk Wheel of Time all the time here, and if you happen to like that sort of thing, again, subscribe to the channel because, let's face it, I love talking about the Wheel of Time, and I know most of you like hearing about it almost as much as I like talking about it, so it's kind of a perfect pairing there, so to speak. All right, so before we get into today's video, I would normally give a bit of a spoiler warning. However, we're going to talk the wrap party first, and we're going to talk some very generalized type things about Season 3. So we're not going to get into too much specifics for storylines and whatnot, but even though I'm not going to get into too many specifics, I'm still giving at least a 4-book spoiler for the entire video because, let's face it, I like to talk, and I may ruin a couple things just by yammering on about what we know about Season 3. So, spoiler warning, if you have not read the first 4 books of the Wheel of Time series, that's the Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, The Dragon Reborn, and The Shadow Rising, be forewarned, I may ruin plot points and character arcs from that medium. Also, if you haven't seen the first 2 seasons of The Wheel of Time, streaming right now on Prime Video, it's episodes 1 through 8 of each season, be forewarned, I'm going to talk about those too, so I'm basically going to ruin a lot of things in today's video, even though I don't really need to. Sorry about that. Anyway, either way, let's get on to the rest of the video. Alright, so recently on social media, there's been a ton of pictures of the cast and crew circulating around, basically saying it's a wrap. They finished filming Season 3, and they actually had a wrap party. So there's a lot of people here. These are a lot of the cast, a lot of the crew. There's the showrunner Rafe Judkins and Taylor Napier, as well as Priyanka Bose. There is a lot of different people in these photos. Now, we know who most of them are. A lot of them are a production team. A lot of them are behind-the-scenes folks, people who work on the show, but maybe are not actors or actresses. But there is a fair number of actors and actresses in these shots as well. Now, this is tagged as a wrap party, so they did have a party in Prague. They did have kind of an end of filming casting. I would assume that most of the cast were there unless they were actually needed for filming. And you're probably thinking at this point, well, John, it's a wrap party. Why would they be needed for filming? Well, at the end of Season 1 and the end of Season 2, they had parties. And both times they had parties, they were still filming. There were still things to come. So I know that in Season 1, I think they filmed at least 2 months after the wrap party. And then Season 2, somewhat the same. They had a wrap party, and then they filmed a few scenes and things here and there afterwards. Season 3 is no exception. They're basically gearing up for a shoot right now in South Africa, and what a lot of people, including myself, think South Africa is going to be for Season 3 will be the Waste in Roydian. So we know that there are certain aspects that they've kind of already filmed about Roydian because Rafe had said he was on set, he left Roydian, and he came back and went to the Comic-Cons and whatnot, but I think that they're trying to fill out the rest of it in South Africa. So I don't believe it's Season 4 filming, not what's happening the next couple months. I think it's still Season 3. So why have a wrap party if you're still filming? Well, mainly because most of the principal photography is done. They're probably done filming in Prague. They're probably done filming in studios for the most part. Maybe some reshoots or other things they have to do later on. But the bulk of everything is done. The bulk of the travel is probably already done, and they only have those scenes left in South Africa. So it makes sense to have a party now when everyone is still together rather than sending everyone on their way from all of those other shoots and trying to bring them back later on for a party that they may not attend. That makes sense to me anyway. Before you send all these people that are on contract away, let's have a party for them. And of course, the pictures are going to get out on social media. There was a lot of things that were leaked early, I guess is the best way to put it, and then a lot of the major cast and crew and the showrunner started posting it afterwards. And I don't think it's because it was leaked. I think they just hadn't gotten around to posting it yet, and some of the people who worked on behind the scenes posted it first. Either way, a lot of Season 3 is done filming. I know for a fact that there are a couple of major storylines that have completely wrapped up, and they're totally done with them, but I believe, like I said, they're probably going back to South Africa for the waste and some other shots that they're going to do there. And rumor is they're going to be filming for at least a couple of months. Now, we're not entirely sure exactly how long they're filming or when they're going to stop, but I think it's going to be sometime before the end of the year. I definitely think they'll be finished before Christmas, but we really just don't have a date, if that makes any sense. Either way, season 3 is almost in the can. It's almost finished, and we know a fair bit about it, but we don't know everything. There's a couple of things we really don't know. One of them is the air date of season 3. I do not expect them to give that to us until likely next summer. I was recently on the podcast with Tucker and Rioid, not too long ago, for their wrap party, along with Sarah from Watt Series and Matt Hatch from the Dusty Wheel. If you haven't seen that, I've left a link to it down below in the description box. It's fantastic. We had a great time. It was like 2.5 hours of us just having fun. We get off track a lot. We tried to talk about some things. Joe did his best to keep everyone in line. It didn't work. It was a whole lot of fun. Anyway, during those conversations, we basically talked about when we think we're going to see season 3, and when we think they're going to greenlight season 4, and when we'll be worried. So what I said is, if we don't hear anything about a green light or have any indication that they're filming by May of next year, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, by May of next year, I think at that point we should probably be worried. Mainly because we had lots of indications they were filming season 2 before, season 2 was greenlit prior to season 1 even came out, so that's a bit different. But we had lots of indications they were filming season 3 before we knew it was officially greenlit, and we had a ton of information about what was coming up. Now, I've heard absolutely nothing about season 4. That doesn't mean it's not already greenlit. It would not shock me that they have greenlit things ahead of time so they can start scouting locations and getting things done. But we're not really sure yet. So I'm going to say, if I don't see a single indication of filming by May, and we have no actual indication from the cast, crew, production team, or Amazon or Sony that season 4 has been greenlit, I'll start worrying then. Right now, they haven't even really finished season 3 yet. Season 2 is still pulling in numbers. So if you really like the Wheel of Time, if you really want them to have continuous seasons and they continue on the show, do a few rewatches. Amazon really likes completion rates. I've said this before in a few of my videos. Rewatch the show as many times as you can on loop, because every single full rewatch, it's got to be a full rewatch too. You got to watch episodes 1 through 8 of season 1, 1 through 8 of season 2, or just 1 through 8 of season 2. A season at a time is fine. That counts as a percentage towards their completion rates, and it's one of the metrics that Amazon uses to determine the success of a show. So if you watch 3 episodes and stop, they don't consider that a success, and they don't really count that as good metrics. You have to watch all 8 in its entirety, and that's good metrics to Amazon. So either way, season 3 is mostly done filming. Season 4 is on the horizon somewhere. We think, we're not entirely sure. We have no information about that. But as soon as anything comes across my desk or in my inbox, I'll let you folks know first. And again, before we get into the casting that was just leaked by redanian Intelligence, I do want to mention that if you folks know anything about Season 3, if you know anything about Season 4, if you happen to live in South Africa and you're watching this video and you're near some of the places they're shooting, reach out to me. I'm very active on Instagram and X. And if you need me to message me on X because you don't have an Instagram account and you need me to follow you, just tag me in a post and say, please follow me, and I'll follow you, and then you can write me, or my email. My email is in the description of the channel. Send me a message there. If you have any information on anything that happened in Season 3 or what will be happening for Season 4, I'd love to hear from you. All right. Now, the latter part of the video, we're going to talk about a casting that redanian Intelligence just leaked, and it gives us some major clues to what's happening in Season 3. All right, so we have Rebecca Root. This was recently leaked by redanian Intelligence. I've left a link to that article down below in the description box. Picked up by Watt Series, a few other people. We've all talked about it so far, but I haven't actually included it in a video yet, and I wanted to talk about this a bit because this is pretty important. Now, this is Rebecca Root. She is going to be playing Leliane Akashi in the 3rd season of The Wheel of Time. Now, who is Rebecca? Well, Rebecca is an actress from the UK, and she's been acting since 1993. She's been in a ton of different things, everything from Hollyoaks to The Queen's Gambit to doing voiceovers for Doctor Who. She's also a voice acting coach. She does a ton of different things, and she is a fantastic actress. I've gone back and watched quite a few things that she's done, and She can really bring it. And a lot of the people on the show, like I said before, tend to have either incredibly long lists of productions or credits they've been in, whether it be TV, theater, or movies. And Rebecca has done all three. So she's done all three. She's done classical acting, she's done television, she's done movies, she's done voiceovers, she's done coaching. She has a broad range of experience. And Amazon tends to hire people that have a lot of experience and are good at their jobs. And I've said this probably in every casting video I've ever done. I don't think there's a single casting for the show I didn't like yet. One of the things that the Wheel of Time is very, very strong at, and one of the things that I've had zero complaints in, is the casting department. I think they've nailed pretty much every casting. Now, she's going to be doing Leliane Sedai, so it's not exactly a likable character, if that makes any sense at all. But I think that the Wheel of Time has done a very, very good job of taking unlikable characters or 2D villain-esque type characters and really, really kind of bumping them up. So people feel for them, they have a backstory, they have reasoning behind the things that they're doing. For example, Leliane Sedai, for the second season, they really fleshed her character out and gave a lot of reasoning behind why she was a dark friend, why she was doing the things she was doing. And I've seen some complaints about it from some people in the fandom. Now, I'm saying it's a very, very minimal amount of people seeing complaints about. I personally don't understand it. I love the fact that they're making the antagonists of the series likable. I like the fact that they're relatable, that we understand what's going on, because the book series is one of the major flaws in the Wheel of Time. And I'm not one of those people that pretend the book series is perfect from start to finish. It is certainly not. It's my favorite book series. I can love something that's not perfect. One of its major flaws was all of the bad guys in it, from the Dark Friends to the Forsaken to the people who were just downright evil or unlikable from day one, and they were not affiliated with the Dark. They did a very poor job, for the most part, of fleshing them out until much, much later on in the book series, and by then a lot of them were come and gone. So there's sort of like the flavor of the week villains is what we got in the book series. The show moved away from that, and they've done a very good job of fleshing them out. So I wonder what we're going to get with this particular character. Now, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive, not too big of a deep dive, into this character, who she is, and how she's going to impact things in Season 3. So for this, I'm going to give a different spoiler rating for the rest of the video. So we know which character she's going to be playing, but I want to talk about how she's going to fit into Season 3, and to do so, because I think they're going to take numbers of storylines from later on and kind of compress them in, and I want to talk about some elements that happen much later in the book series. I'm going to give a full book spoiler rating for the rest of the video, so if you haven't read the book series and you don't want anything spoiled, I do apologize. The rest of the video I'm going to be talking about things that happen after book 4, so spoiler warning. If you have not read the entire Wheel of Time series, that's the Eye of the World right up through, including A Memory of Light by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, be forewarned, I may ruin some minor plot points and character arcs from the entire series, and I might ruin some major plot points and character arcs to do with this particular character. All right, you've been warned. All right, so Leliane Sedai. In the book series, she's important to Egwene's story pretty much from the time that the White Tower split to the end of the books. She's interwoven with Egwene a fair bit. Who is she? Well, she wasn't really important in the book series until after the Tower coup. So in the book series, if you haven't read them and you ignore the spoiler warning, there was a coup. So Elaida deposed Siuan. So Siuan is no longer Amyrlin. She was stilled along with her keeper, Lyanna. And during that period of time, after she was arrested and stilled, there was an effort to break her free. And the effort was started by some of the warders, as well as some of the Aes Sedai, and some of the students. And it kind of failed, but it didn't really, because her, Lyanna, and Min did get free, and they did leave. And they went towards a place called Saladar. Now, at this point, Elaida is Amyrlin. She's in charge of the tower, and there's a lot of Aes Sedai that are very upset about what she did. Some are upset about the fact that Siuan is deposed. Some are more upset about the fact that it was done in a gray area of legality. There was not really a full hearing. It was more of the bare minimum that Elaida needed to do to depose Siuan to become Amyrlin herself, because she coveted the position and the power. Either way, it caused a rift in the Aes Sedai. The Aes Sedai then kind of split, so we had all the rebel Aes Sedai head to Saladar. And I call them rebels, but they're not really rebels yet. They're just a loose coalition of Aes Sedai that are upset at things that had happened. Mostly blue, a smattering of their Ajas, no reds. And while they're there, they sort of form a plan. And their plan is to raise their own Amyrlin in defiance of Elaida and use her as a puppet to sort of meld the tower back together, maybe get what they want, and then she's can be the fall guy. She can take the scapegoat, so to speak, take the brunt of the punishments. And to do so, they wanted somebody who they thought they could mold, who was very strong in the power, and who could look the part, but maybe listen to advice and do what they're told behind the scenes, and they thought Egwene was the best person for that. Now, Leliane Sedai, along with Ramada Sedai and a few others, they spearheaded this whole initiative. They kind of concocted all this behind the scenes. They got Egwene there, raised her to Amyrlin, and they realized they put a leash on a tiger, and Egwene was not listening to anything they said and just thwarted them politically at every single turn. Now, this is one of those areas in the book series that I really enjoyed. I like politics, I like interpersonal relationships, I like all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I like the battles too, but to me, they're secondary. The Wheel of Time isn't all about battles, it's more about the characters and how they interact. And this was very character heavy. So, Leliane being introduced this early, we know there's a tower coup in Season 3. We know that's happening. We've seen leaked footage and pictures of bloody waters and blood on the walls. Swan is likely to be deposed early in Season 3, which means that they may be setting up the rebel camp sometime during Season 3 as one of the storylines. And Leliane being cast kind of puts some credence to that. Now, Leliane, after the events of Saladar, she's important to Egwene's story, but she's really just kind of in the background. She does some other things. She was there when they voted yes to work with the Ashaman. She was there when the Ashaman wanted to bond a bunch of the sisters and voted yes on that. She was there with Egwene during the last battle. She was also there when Egwene confronted Rand. And it's thought that she survived the last battle. It's one of those loose ends that was never tied up. There's a ton of that in the book series because I think Memory of Light could have been 3 books personally. But I think it was done on purpose that there's a lot of open-ended stuff to the book series. So we think she survived the last battle, but we're not 100%. So her major importance happened during the Rebel camp. So I think a very good way of ending Season 3 for Egwene would be to have Egwene do whatever she's doing during Season 3. I really hope she's in the Waste, training to be a Dreamwalker. Not 100% that's going to happen. We really don't know where Madeline Madden filmed. As of yet, that may change soon. But I think that her being called back to the Aes Sedai, back to Saladar, back to be raised Amyrlin might be a good cliffhanger to end on for her storyline for the for the third season. They announced that, yeah, we've called you here to be Amyrlin, and then stunned look, cut to smashed to black, so to speak, as Matt Hatch would say. I think that'd be a great way to end the season. Either way, I think we're getting Rebels next season, almost for sure, if Leliane has been cast, or at least the seeds of it. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. How do you think this is going to play out in Season 3? I'm going to do a full video on the who's who and where people are at for Season 3. I'm also doing a leaks video, like I said earlier, about some of the storylines that I know some things about. But without piecing too much together just yet loosely, do you think we're going to get the coup followed by the Rebels standing up in Season 3? Or do you think they'll leave the Rebels for Season 4? Remember, there's a ton of stuff going on in Season 3. I personally don't know how they're going to cram all these storylines into 8 episodes, a little over an hour each. But we'll see. Either way, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you so very much for sticking with us here at the very end. Here's to many more.